Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at Learn English Beyond Words. I'm John, and I am joined by the brilliant Carol. Today, we are talking about a problem that makes many people feel stuck.
That's right, John. We are talking about subtitles. For many English learners, subtitles are like a security blanket. You feel safe when they are on the screen, but you feel completely lost when they are gone.
It is a very common feeling. You study English for years, you know the grammar, and you know the words. But the moment you watch a movie or listen to a podcast without text, it feels like the actors are speaking a secret code.
At this channel, we believe English is more than just a list of rules to memorize for a test. It is a tool for your life. It is the tool you use to understand the world, to watch your favorite creators, and to connect with new people.
But you can't fully use that tool if you are always looking at the bottom of the screen. Today, we want to help you move from reading English to actually hearing it.
In this video, we are going to explain exactly what happens in your brain when subtitles are on. There is a scientific reason why your ears turn off when your eyes are turned on.
And we aren't just going to tell you to listen more. We are going to share a specific way to use your favorite videos to train your brain. If you stay until the end, we will show you how to use a method called shadowing to bridge the gap between knowing a word and hearing a word in real time.
Before we start the main discussion, let's look at 5 expressions that are very useful for this topic. You will hear us use these throughout the script. Catch. In this context, it doesn't mean to grab a ball. It means to hear and understand a specific word or phrase in a fast conversation. Get used to. This means to become familiar with something so it feels normal. Pick up. This is when you learn a new word or sound naturally, just by hearing it many times. Look up. When you search for the meaning of a word in a dictionary. Tune in. This means to focus your attention on a specific sound or piece of information.
Keep those words in mind. They are very common in the B1 and B2 levels, and they help describe the learning process perfectly. So, Carol, let's start with the big question. Why is it so much easier to understand English when we read the subtitles? My students always tell me, "John, I know these words. Why can't I hear them?"
It is actually a very logical process. You see, the brain always wants to find the easiest way to understand information. Reading is a very stable skill. When you see a word on a screen, it stays there. You have time to look at the letters and recognize the meaning.
But sound is different. Sound is fast.
Exactly. Sound moves. Once a word is spoken, it is gone. If your brain is receiving 2 types of information, visual text and auditory sound, the brain will almost always choose the text. It is simply more efficient for the brain to read the subtitles than to work hard to tune into the sounds.
So, when we have subtitles on, our ears are basically on a vacation?
In a way, yes. Your brain stops trying to decode the sounds because it already has the answer right there in the text. This is why you can watch a movie with subtitles and feel like you understand everything. But the moment you turn them off, you can't catch a single sentence.
One of the biggest complaints from learners at the B1 level is that native speakers talk way too fast. They say it sounds like one long, continuous word with no spaces.
Actually, science shows that English isn't necessarily faster than other languages. The problem is how English sounds are connected. In textbooks, we learn, "What are you doing?" Every word is separate.
But in real life, we don't do that.
No, we don't. We use something called connected speech. We link the end of one word to the beginning of the next. Instead of 4 separate words, it sounds like, "What you doing?"
That is why it's so hard to pick up the meaning. If a student is waiting to hear the word are, and I say, "Whatcha?" their brain gets confused. They are looking for a sound that doesn't exist in natural conversation.
Right. And because they are focused on that one missing word, they miss the rest of the sentence. They can't get used to the rhythm because they are too busy trying to translate every individual sound.
English is also very musical, isn't it? We have strong sounds and weak sounds.
Yes, English is a stress-timed language. This means we only emphasize the important words, usually the nouns and verbs. The small words like to, for, or are spoken very quickly and quietly.
So if a student is trying to hear every single to and the, they are going to feel exhausted.
Exactly. To improve your listening, you have to learn to ignore the small, unimportant sounds and focus on the peaks of the sentence. You have to train your brain to catch the stressed words. This is what helps you understand the overall meaning without needing to look up every tiny detail.
We are about to get into the 3 most effective ways to train your ears. But first, a quick reminder.
If you are finding this helpful and you want to stop being dependent on subtitles, please give this video a like. It really helps our channel grow.
And subscribe to Learn English Beyond Words. We make videos every week to help you move past the intermediate level and start using English with confidence. Okay, Carol, we know why it's hard. Now, let's talk about the solution. Most people think they should just turn off subtitles immediately and suffer through a movie they don't understand. Is that a good idea?
Actually, no. That is usually a recipe for frustration. If you don't understand anything, your brain will just get tired and stop paying attention. We want to use a more organized approach.
I always recommend using short clips. Instead of a 2-hour movie, use a 2-minute YouTube video.
That is a great strategy. This is called intensive listening. You take a very short piece of audio and you listen to it multiple times.
The first time, you listen to catch the general idea. Don't worry about the details.
The second time, you can turn the subtitles on to check what you missed. If there is a word you don't know, you can look up the definition.
And the third time, this is the most important part. You turn the subtitles off again. Now that your brain knows the meaning, it can focus 100% on the sounds. You are teaching your brain to connect the written word to the spoken sound.
Another very effective way to get used to hearing English without subtitles is to watch something you have already seen in your native language.
Oh, like a favorite movie from childhood?
Exactly. Because you already know the story, your brain doesn't have to work hard to understand what is happening. This lowers your stress levels. When you are relaxed, it is much easier to pick up new phrases and natural expressions.
That makes sense. If I already know the hero is going to save the day, I can focus on how he says it, rather than trying to follow the plot.
Now, let's talk about a technique that many successful language learners use. It is called shadowing.
I hear about this all the time. Can you explain it simply for our viewers?
Of course, shadowing is when you listen to a native speaker and you repeat exactly what they say, almost at the same time. You are like a shadow following them.
So you don't wait for them to finish the sentence?
No, you try to mimic their speed, their emotion, and their rhythm immediately. You don't need to understand every word perfectly at first. The goal is to train your mouth and your ears to work together.
How does that help?
When you shadow, you are physically producing the connected speech we talked about earlier. When your own brain learns how to produce a sound like, "what you doin'," it becomes much easier to catch that sound when someone else says it. It bridges the gap between your eyes and your ears.
One thing I want to mention is that this doesn't happen overnight. Some people try these techniques for 2 days and then get discouraged because they still can't understand a fast movie.
That is true. Your brain needs time to build new pathways. Think of it like going to the gym. You don't get strong after one workout. You have to tune into English every single day, even if it's just for 15 minutes.
And it's okay to use subtitles sometimes. If you are tired and you just want to relax and enjoy a show, keep the subtitles on. Don't be too hard on yourself.
The goal is to move toward independence slowly. Maybe today you watch 5 minutes without subtitles. Next week, you try 10 minutes. Little by little, you will find that you don't need to look up words as often. You will start to feel the rhythm of the language.
We hope this video gave you the confidence to try listening without a safety net. Remember, everyone who is fluent in English today once struggled to understand a simple conversation.
Exactly. The frustration you feel is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that your brain is growing. It is the feeling of a new skill being formed.
Don't give up. Use the techniques we talked about today. Practice a little bit every day.
Before you know it, you will be watching a video and you will realize, wait, I haven't looked at the subtitles in 10 minutes. That is a beautiful moment.
And when that happens, English stops being a subject you study and starts being a part of who you are.
Thank you for watching. Keep learning, keep listening, and we will see you in the next lesson.
See you soon.